Hi again, YouTube. My name is Ariel, and today we are talking about the Biodynamic Harvesting Calendar. Now, what is the Biodynamic Harvesting Calendar? Honestly, it's something that I'm still trying to understand. It is based on the concept that we can all observe and agree upon that the moon exerts gravity over the earth, and this affects living organisms, right? So if you're a fisherman, you know that the phase of the moon strongly affects the tides and bodies of water, and therefore your chance of getting a good catch, basically. I don't know much about fishing, so I'm gonna stop it right there. But if you're a gardener, you know that it's really painful and frustrating and heartbreaking when things you plant just don't pan out, like they get eaten or they just have a failure to thrive. This happens all the time. And organic agriculture is really cool, but biodynamic agriculture is something that humans have been doing for pretty much since the beginning of time. It's all about recognizing the patterns of the seasons and how the moon and the sun affect the way that plants grow, trying to maximize our successes by using the sun and moon influence. Now, some biodynamic agriculture people get really into like zodiac signs and astrological planting, and like good for them, cool. But I just want to talk about the moon phases. In biodynamic agriculture, we recognize that when the moon is big and full, it is exerting the most gravity pressure upwards. It is pulling all living organisms up. That's supposedly why people go Looney Tunes during the full moon, and even the word Looney Tunes, the phrase, is related to the word lunar, meaning pertaining to the moon. So, when the moon is big and full, it is pulling us upward, whether we are a person or a plant, and that is when there is the most leafy growth and stuff, I suppose. I am still learning this theory, and so we're learning together, and that's fine. When the moon is new, and we don't see it, it is black in the sky, all of the Twilight book. It is not, correct me if I'm wrong, not pulling us up as much, and perhaps that's the time to harvest like root crops. Like I said, I'm still learning here.
I never thought I'd get this far.
I know that the day I'm filming this, July 1st, we are in a third quarter moon, and the internet tells me that according to the biodynamic calendar schedule, that today is a good day to harvest everything. Although another source said just harvest fruit. So I'm still confused, and we're gonna learn together, and we're gonna harvest some raspberries today, and maybe some herbs. Does that sound good? Cool. We are back in my lovely mess of a backyard, and because it is a harvest everything day, I'm gonna start with harvesting some raspberries and then move on to harvesting a couple herbs. Interesting features about biodynamic farming are the way that they use a combination of herbs and animal entrails to fertilize their soils naturally. And it sounds so weird when you think about stuffing a cow's horn with yarrow flowers and then making gallons and gallons of water out of that concentrate after it ferments in the earth for a year and watering all your crops with it, but the results they get speak for themselves. There are all kinds of funky and crunchy and cool and weird things that biodynamic farmers do, but they really work. Since it is now a third quarter moon, the moon is pulling up on the plants less, and the plants are being pulled down to the center of the earth through gravity, allegedly. And so the almanac wants me to have a sow/plant day. That means like sowing seeds and planting especially root crops, they emphasized, because plants will be naturally putting more sap and storing more sugars in their roots going towards the time of the month of the new moon. I think that's why it's a harvest everything day as well, because the plants are shifting from storing sugars in their fruit to storing sugars in their roots, and so we want to get the fruit while it is sweet. Biodynamic agriculture is a form of sustainable farming that was developed by the great Dr. Rudolf Steiner sometime in the early 20th century. Steiner was a Renaissance man, a philosopher, and a great many things, and he originally called this method of farming anthroposophical farming. But that didn't stick, so we call it biodynamic farming now, and the whole point of it is to farm and plant with the seasons. It's very old school, to get the best harvest and crops and try to have a closed input system where everything that you need for your farm comes from your farm or adjacent farms. It is basically a new take on a very ancient Indo-European way of farming. If you guys are interested in the biodynamic farming stuff, here are a couple book recommendations. These are just almanac, and they change every year depending on the moon cycles. And this is a moon calendar that I like because it's very simple and easy to use, unlike all the other moon calendars I found. Well, not bad for 5 minutes of work if I do say so myself. And this is my strawberry shortcake cake platter that I'm going to use to pick herbs with. Isn't it the cutest? So all you need is clean hands and your strawberry shortcake cake platter to pick a bunch of Feverfew, which, as I mentioned in the past, is my favorite herb for headaches and migraines. I also really like the smell. Not everyone does, but I do. It's like a strong, stinky chamomile. So if you're into that, get thee some Feverfew. As you can see, I'm doing an old ancient tradition of kind of weaving my hands through the blossoms and pulling them off. As you can see, sometimes I get just the flowers, which is ideal, and sometimes I am left with a long length of stem. This is my daughter being helpful. She's often irritating, but when I watch this footage, it makes me cry because she's so cute, guys. She just has the brightest little heart and is so helpful and just wants to do everything that we do. So here I'm shoving the Feverfew blossoms in my herb dryer. Very graceful, very stylish as always. I shake them around so that they can dry evenly in the sun and the wind. And now I'm realizing that I cannot zip it shut with only one hand. Well, whatever, I'm gonna get some lemon balm now. So unless you're going for a full biodynamic certification of your farm, which involves a lot more minutia than just the moon calendar that I'm talking about, don't sweat it. Don't worry if you miss the correct moon phase for planting or harvesting or pruning or weeding or whatever. Just keep on trucking, and these guidelines are just to help us have the best harvests we can, so we shouldn't get too caught up and neurotic about it. It's just there as a helpful suggestion.
Baby, eat me.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, the more I learn about biodynamic agriculture and farming, the more I will post videos like these. I like it when we can kind of learn together. Like I can go into a subject, not knowing a lot about it and learn more as the video progresses. I think that's kind of cool. Anyway, I love you lots. Bye!